And now, the Delaware Valley's only primetime news hour. Fox 29's The 10 O'Clock News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Bolden. Jill is at the Philadelphia Festival of World Cinema. We'll be returning to her in a few moments.
And I'm Lee McCarthy. Here's what's happening. 3 days after drug dealers almost killed Santiago Pineda, he remains hospitalized in fair condition, and police have a third man in custody for taking part in that attack. And police and community activists in Hunting Park are continuing to turn up the heat on drug dealers. Farland Chang reports.
This is the kind of violence that flares up all too often on the mean streets of Hunting Park. Two men arguing over drugs, the weapons quickly evolve from fists into an aluminum bat. But this time, undercover police are at the right place at the right time. They arrest the alleged drug dealer, and the victim survives one more day. As police control this hotspot, they are still busy with the one that ignited just a few blocks away on Sunday at 8th and Pike in Hunting Park, right outside the home of Santiago Pineda. Pineda was shot and beaten when he demanded the drug dealers leave. Today, police arrested 21-year-old Marco Correa. He is the third male charged with assault. As police search for 4 more suspects, they are also deploying extra patrols.
When we walk around, I don't hear no gunshots, and I don't have to be running in my house.
The police presence has created a greater sense of security here for now. But when the police leave, many residents fear that the drug dealers will quickly return to business.
Somebody will wind up getting shot.
To prevent that, the police say they will maintain this mobile station indefinitely. It's part of the federally funded Weed and Seed program, and it's supposed to stay until neighbors feel safer.
Always community keeps in mind that we are backing them, and all we are is a phone call away, and we're quick to respond.
At the same time, members of the Hunting Park Task Force are mobilizing residents for a rally tomorrow. Leaders hope that neighbors will turn out to fight for what is theirs. The victim's brother-in-law says there is power in numbers.
It's nice to live together, you know, everything in one, together.
Already, strangers have contributed more than $1,000 to help the family get by. This is the kind of peace and innocence that Santiago Pineda wanted for his children. But without the help of neighbors, police, and without more jobs, this is the kind of world in which Pineda and his neighbors will have to live. In Hunting Park, Farland Chang, the 10 O'Clock News.
An elderly Northeast Philadelphia couple was killed and another person injured in a multi-vehicle accident on Interstate 95. Police say a man stopped his car in the middle of the road between Cotman Avenue and Bridge Street to retrieve a storm door that fell out of his open trunk. Harry and Marie Rutter swerved to avoid the stopped car. A van crashed into their white Chevrolet and dealt the fatal blow. 3 tractor trailers and 2 other cars also crashed. The man police say began the chain reaction claims that he did not stop in the middle of the road.
I slowed down to go over to the far end. The car behind me slowed down also, and then the tractor trailer came down and hit it.
So you didn't stop in the middle of the highway?
I did not stop.
100 gallons of diesel fuel leaked from one of the trucks. Interstate 95 was reopened for the evening rush hour.
Jim Corder, chairman of the Defense Closing Commission, was in Burlington County today to tour McGuire Air Force Base. The former New Jersey congressman assessed McGuire's facilities from a helicopter. The Pentagon has recommended that McGuire be stripped of its active duty status. Corder says his panel is not simply going to rubber stamp the recommendations.
McGuire flew high, and it's not time, we believe, to clip its wings.
Bradley and other lawmakers were not the only ones hoping to convince Corder not to touch McGuire. Hundreds of school children rallied outside the base in an effort to keep McGuire open. The controversial outcome-based education reform plan cleared a major hurdle today in Harrisburg. Pennsylvania's Independent Regulatory Review Commission unanimously approved the plan. The state legislature could still pass a resolution blocking OBE, but Governor Casey would likely veto any such attempt. Parent groups have bitterly fought OBE, saying it treats their children like guinea pigs and takes control away from local districts. OBE ties high school graduation to what students have learned rather than classroom hours. Philadelphia children illegally attending school in the suburbs has become a growing problem for many school districts. Schools go to great lengths to keep out illegal students. But in Upper Darby, one parent says the school went too far. Barbara Grant reports.
You can't just take children at will without their parents' permission and do anything or take them anywhere.
Sandra Barnes and her 2 daughters live in a small apartment building on a quiet street in Upper Darby. She was shocked at what she called just the latest tactics of local school officials to verify her address.
had LaToya pulled out of her class and escorted in a car by a truant officer to my home and said to her, once he was inside with her, prove to me that you live here.
And I kept asking, was it legal, and did he have to call my mom? And he said no.
School officials told Barnes they suspected she really lived in Philadelphia, but this was not the first time the Barneses have been hassled about where they live.
I showed them a lease. I've showed them, I think, my voter's registration and several other pieces of information that proved that I was, in fact, a resident.
They kept asking me, are you sure you didn't move? Are you sure you didn't move? I said, I know where I live.
Upper Darby school officials may have a legitimate gripe about children crossing the county line to attend Upper Darby High School, but we tried for 2 days to get school officials to talk about it. They gave us the runaround and finally refused to comment. They also refused to show us a policy statement about residency requirements. The Pennsylvania School Code says a child is entitled to free schooling in the district where they reside, but there are no state regulations about how far a school district can go to prove children don't live in their districts. Suburban districts in southeast Delaware and Montgomery counties are well known for their aggressive methods for discovering families who lie about their addresses.
The truancy officer that be at 69th Street and they be checking you out.
They try to keep the kids from Philadelphia out of the school districts here, and it's like a bounty hunting activity.
The Southeast Delco NAACP has been watching the school district. They are concerned that the residency problem unfairly impacts on black students.
They are aggressive. They go to the bus stations, train stations, follow the kids to school, follow them from school.
Suburban districts readily admit there's a lot at stake. Thousands of dollars in local taxes. $9,000 a student at Lower Merion High School. They hire private investigators to track down illegal students. $5,800 per student at Southeast Delco schools. They might send a social worker to visit the student's home. Investigators routinely take pictures of students at transportation stops and follow children home, because children who cross the line are getting a free ride, and parents who defraud the district have to pay the school bills. In the case of LaToya Barnes, Upper Darby authorities may have crossed the legal line.
Without any authority whatsoever, they entered the home. That seems to me is a good claim. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, which protects against unreasonable seizures and searches.
The Barneses have hired an attorney to secure their rights and to make sure LaToya is not hassled again. In Upper Darby, Barbara Grant, the 10 o'clock news.
Coming up, a new discovery to detect a form of cancer in its early stages.
The fate of Charles Bagley is in the hands of a Delaware County judge, and we'll go live to the Riverview Theater for opening night of the Philadelphia Festival of World Cinema.
All eyes tonight are focusing on the former Yugoslav Republic of Bosnia. The so-called Serb parliament there is holding a two-day meeting on a peace plan to end the bloody civil war. Members must accept or reject the UN-sponsored plan, but tonight the Serb Assembly is considering attaching conditions to that plan. Clinton administration officials say any conditions may make it impossible for the U.S. to accept the plan. In Moscow, Secretary of State Warren Christopher is meeting with U.S. allies on the Bosnian crisis. Christopher met with Boris Yeltsin to discuss a tentative plan to bomb Serb artillery forces if necessary, but so far none of the U.S. allies has approved military intervention.
The troops of Operation Restore Hope returned to the United States today. President Clinton welcomed them to the White House 1 day after the United Nations took control of the humanitarian effort in Somalia. The president thanked the troops, telling them they had saved thousands of lives. Mr. Clinton said other missions now lie ahead for the military, a reference to probable intervention in Bosnia. Closing arguments were heard today in the murder trial of former Temple professor Charles Bagley. Now, a judge will decide whether Bagley murdered his wife in the hot tub of the couple's home in Radnor, or if Bagley is innocent of the charges. Rich Noonan reports.
Charles Bagley's attorney, Neil Jokelson, spent 3 hours and 14 minutes today trying to convince a Delaware County judge that there is not only reasonable doubt that Bagley murdered his wife, but that Bagley is innocent. Jokelson picked apart the prosecution's case, suggesting Charles Bagley's wife, Yvonne, could have died when a soldering iron fell in her hot tub, and she could have died after passing out in the tub because of a low blood pressure condition.
What do you personally believe happened to Yvonne Bagley? I don't know. That's what I personally believe. I don't know if anybody could ever know what happened. So there's no signature on a death like this.
Jokelson made much of Bagley's character. Quoting a Supreme Court decision, the lawyer told the judge, "If you hear a mountain has moved, believe it. But if you hear that a man has changed his character, believe it not." Prosecutor Joel Goldstein seized that theme during his 1 hour and 20 minute summation, saying the defense is correct. Bagley has not changed his character. He's always been a liar. Goldstein said Bagley planned to kill his wife, saying Bagley undertook Herculean efforts to deceive. The prosecutor said Bagley drowned his wife in the hot tub, but did a lousy job, leaving behind 23 bruises on her body. Goldstein said, "I suggest, Your Honor, Charles Bagley commits murder the way he does everything else, second rate. There is no reasonable doubt, Your Honor. He did it." With that, Goldstein asked the judge to convict Bagley of first-degree murder. Now this judge is left with 3 weeks of testimony, over 100 pieces of evidence, and 2 convincing closing arguments to consider. He will announce his verdict Monday morning after what will be a very long weekend for everyone involved in this case, especially Charles Bagley, and the judge who must now decide what to do with him. In media, Rich Noonan, the 10 o'clock news.
Still ahead, a new epidemic in the Delaware Valley and how officials are coping with it.
And Jill is live in South Philadelphia. Jill.
Coming up, our coverage of opening night at the Philadelphia Festival of World Cinema. We'll tell you what to expect from this extravaganza and why Philadelphia and the movies are a perfect match. The 10 o'clock news continues. Welcome to the second Philadelphia Festival of World Cinema. We're live on top of the United Artists Riverview Theater on Delaware Avenue. We are on a really neat set. It was made to look like a backlot or a movie set. It was designed by Stuart Levy, who runs Metropolis. They're responsible for putting together sets for different movies and music videos. This whole event tonight puts Philadelphia at the center of cinema attention for the next 11 days. There are 112 films from 21 countries. Now, this is a festival that is rich in diversity.
Well, now I have no wall.
No, if you look down now. There you go.
Okay, yeah.
So I think we'll go up and down. I think you're up and down.
That's cool. Right there is neat.
Yeah, right?
Films are kind of a major art form of this century, moving images. Through the films, artists tell us a whole lot about the world. They tell us about ourselves, they tell us about other cultures, other countries.
Moviegoers will screen the world through 112 films from 21 countries. The festival offers great diversity.
There were all these people out there waiting for something like this. And whether it was a British film, an Iranian film, a Mexican film, people turned out in droves.
It's going to speak to you in some way or another.
Linda Blackaby, the director of the festival, says there's something for everyone.
There may be images and stories that people haven't seen before that are unfamiliar, but I think that, for me, that's a lot of the fun.
Work, you've got to work that world premiere.
The staff has been working for months through a series of meetings, phone calls, distributing programs, and accommodating visiting filmmakers, even the unexpected ones. But Ellen Davis says the festival is much more than just a catalog of movies.
Bringing a diversity of people together to learn about one another and to create a respect for diversity is what the film festival is all about.
If you're not sure where to start, here are some of the highlights. The festival will salute 2 Academy Award-winning Philadelphians, writer-director Richard Brooks and filmmaker-inventor Garrett Brown. If your tastes are more on the traditional side, you can see an Alfred Hitchcock movie, or you can treat your taste buds at the Philadelphia Festival of World Cuisine. So now that you have a taste for what's happening, you've probably figured out that you won't be seeing films like Terminator 2 or Indecent Proposal. But make no mistake, there are some great movies coming up. Bill Wine joins me now on the set. Now, tonight's opening night feature was Into the West, an Irish fable starring Ellen Barkin and her husband.
Gabriel Byrne.
What did you think? A good movie to start with?
I'm not allowed to review it yet. It's wonderful.
Okay.
You hear this crowd buzzing? I'm sure that's what they're talking about. This was a wonderful choice and a great way to start the festival. I don't think they could do better, and they're now waiting for what follows it up.
You don't become a fixture on the film festival circuit with just 1 year under your belt. So Philadelphia doesn't yet automatically come to mind when film buffs gather to talk film festivals. This isn't Cannes, it's not New York, this isn't Sundance, it isn't Telluride. But the Philadelphia Festival of World Cinema did get off to a very strong start last year, and this year's expanded festival, including 41 feature films from around the globe, looks to be a solid step for film and a giant step for Philly. Here's a taste. Bodies Rest in Motion stars Bridget Fonda, Eric Stoltz, and Phoebe Cates as 20-something underachievers in the American Southwest.
Where's he stealing it from?
His mall. You want him to know? He knows. He doesn't care. Do you care?
I'm interested. Crime's interesting.
It's not a crime. It's justice.
Romper Stomper is an Australian drama about a gang of neo-Nazi skinheads in Melbourne.
You enjoy being cannon fodder for the system? It's a job. I play.
The 39 Steps is Alfred Hitchcock's 1935 thriller classic about murder, memory, and misgivings at first sight.
My name's Henry. They're after me. I swear I'm innocent. You've got to help me. I've got to keep free for the next few days.
Well, you've seen the man passing in the last few minutes.
This is the man you want, I think.
Silver Lake Life, The View from Here, is a video journal that chronicles the final days of a couple with AIDS.
When they were both diagnosed with AIDS, Tom decided to shoot a video diary. He asked me to finish it, if he couldn't.
Alma's Rainbow centers on a family of 3 African-American women.
It's been 3 weeks. You know the routine. The cab came and went. I called you 3 times. I told you you had to be ready to go when he honks, just like I do every morning when you have to go to rehearsal.
And Into the West, the festival's opening night attraction, is a fable starring Gabriel Byrne and Ellen Barkin as Irish travelers in pursuit of 2 boys from Dublin and a mysterious horse.
Why do you keep traveling, Kathleen?
It's in the blood. Out there, you're alone. You're part of nothing.
That's the film these people just saw, and I'm sure liked. If there's a theme to this year's festival, or at least a thread that runs through the movies in it, it might be something like people out of their element, or the crossing of cultural boundaries. And crossing cultural boundaries is what the festival is all about, as it celebrates artistic excellence and cultural diversity, and offers all kinds of movies aimed at all kinds of audiences. Along with the features, there are shorts, documentaries, cartoons, experimental films, restored classics. There are Philadelphia premieres, East Coast premieres, U.S. premieres, even world premieres. In fact, when you come right down to it, about the only thing all the films in this year's festival have in common is the sprocket holes. The people running the festival said, we're going to have movies for every kind of taste, and that's exactly what they had.
People tend to think this is an elitist thing, and it's not at all.
There are some films that are very esoteric, but there are also some action films, some children's films. Anything you could want in a movie, it's here.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Bill will be back a little later on with more on the highlights of the festival. Incidentally, here are some numbers if you want to know more about what's going on. If you'd like general information, call 895-6542. If you'd like information on tickets, call 963-0345. Now, part of opening night here is a screenwriters contest. There's an award ceremony going on right now honoring those who have written a screenplay using Philadelphia as a setting. We'll have more on that in a moment. One of the big challenges of this festival is to paint Philadelphia as a movie mecca. You don't always think of Philadelphia and movies at the same time, but as Gerald Colpan reports, when you see a Philadelphia movie, you know it.
So you'd like to write a screenplay, a magnificent screenplay, a screenplay about this place right here. Well, why not? Ever since the turn of the century when the Lubin Company was making movies here, people have been doing just that. So I say, go ahead. I mean, hey, it's not like you don't have any role models.
In the old days, if a movie was set in Philadelphia, it was usually made in Hollywood. In 1940's The Philadelphia Story, Cary Grant showed Katharine Hepburn that they can have bad manners on the main line. But by 1959, they were actually making movies around here. Steve McQueen got to see The Blob destroy Downingtown.
It's the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life.
But it wasn't until the 1970s that shooting meant more than guns here. Independence Hall starred as itself in a musical about the nation's founding, 1972's 1776. And City Hall Plaza figured prominently with Jeff Bridges in the 1979 political thriller, Winter Kills. 1981's Blowout offered a different view of Philly's seat of government, and Perish the Thought had John Travolta almost running over a flock of mummers in an apparent rush to make the Founders Day sale at Wanamaker's. Witness from 1985 offered spectacular views of the nearby Amish country in a story about a young boy who witnesses a murder in Philadelphia's 30th Street station.
matinees, you know.
1988's Clean and Sober featured a pre-Batman Michael Keaton meeting Kathy Baker in front of South Philly's now closed Colonial Movie Theater. Sharon Pinkinson of the Philadelphia Film Office says it's this wealth of locations that brings filmmakers here, as well as a new spirit of professionalism.
We're ready for them now. We've got extreme level, very high level of cooperation with all of the counties and with the mayor's office, and we're able to provide them with exactly what they need with a staff that understands production.
Yo, I almost forgot.
So write that script. Sylvester Stallone wrote this one and became a star. And if you've got a part for a TV reporter, I know a couple of guys, only no running, okay? From the Art Museum steps, Gerald Colpan, the 10 o'clock news.
There were two winners in the Set in Philadelphia Screenwriters Contest. Philadelphian Bruce Graham won for Riley's Last Request. It's a love story set in a South Philadelphia bar. Allison Anders of Kentucky stayed in Philadelphia to research her drama. It's about a Society Hill single mother in a bad relationship with a mainline man. There were over 125 people who entered the contest, and they came from all over the country to participate. A lot of the scripts used the standard Philadelphia scenery, like the Italian Market, City Hall, Main Line, the ones you usually think of. But some used the Schuylkill River, Germantown, and Fairmount Park in ways that the judges had never before seen. And the winners knew how to, in the judges' words, tell a Philadelphia story. The news continues from our studio. We'll have a report on a breakthrough in identifying a cancer gene. And when we return to the festival, an unusual weather forecast from Frank and Bill Wine with a tribute to a great Philadelphia director.
President Clinton will scale back his immunization plan to get it past Congress and the pharmaceutical industry. Under the compromise, only those children on Medicaid or those without insurance are eligible for free vaccinations. Clinton's original proposal would have provided vaccines for all children. Federal officials say that only half of the nation's 2-year-olds are fully immunized.
A medical breakthrough in colon cancer research may enable doctors to detect the disease in its early stages. Today, scientists announced the discovery of a gene linked to at least 1 in every 7 cases. Those people with the gene have a 95% chance of getting colon cancer. The finding will lead to a quicker diagnosis and save lives.
Greater than 90% of these patients can be spared death from their cancers if the cancers are detected early through these tests.
Doctors should be able to test for the gene soon. Colon cancer affects 160,000 people each year and kills more than 50,000.
Doctors once thought that the tuberculosis epidemic was over, but TB is back, complicated by the AIDS virus and patients who do not finish their course of treatment. Philadelphia is not immune to the new rise in TB cases. As Steve Coleman reports, City Council is taking steps to bring the disease under control.
The pictures are from a bygone era, the decades in which tuberculosis ravaged the country. History may be repeating itself, and Philadelphia is being especially hard hit as tuberculosis resurfaces.
These are at greater risk for developing active TB.
This special council commission hearing health experts testified that everyone is at risk of contracting TB, but some groups are especially vulnerable. They include the homeless, chronic drug and alcohol abusers, prison inmates, healthcare workers, certain immigrant populations, and HIV-infected people. People with HIV are 113 times more susceptible to TB. That's why members of the group ACT UP made their criticisms of the council known by coughing during the hearing.
We want to know what these guidelines are, how healthcare workers, how people operating AIDS service organizations can protect themselves against this epidemic.
In 1989, Philadelphia reported 237 cases of TB. That number jumped to 339 just last year, a 43% increase. It means that for every 100,000 Philadelphians, 20 are infected with TB. And 50 people infected in Philadelphia have developed a strain of TB that is resistant to at least 6 of the currently available drugs used to treat the disease. Sobering statistics like that will be examined as the city council and public health officials try to assemble their resources against an old nemesis that's making a comeback. In Center City, Steve Coleman, the 10 o'clock news.
Coming up, Carl Churkin with highlights from the NBA playoffs.
And the Phillies settle for a draw in their two-game series with the Giants. Tonight, some people are wondering whether today was a reality check for the Phillies or just an off day.
I don't think it was, Lee. Look at it this way. They're still 19-7 overall. Even with today's 11-2 loss in San Francisco, the Phils were 5-2 out west. So they got the stinker out of the way before returning home for 3-game sets now with the second-place Cardinals and Pirates. At Candlestick Park, it's not enough. Barry Bonds has to go for 4 for 4 against the Phils. He's doing it on defense as well. Giants fans tell their $43 million man, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. Talk about a game of inches. Royce Clayton bangs a single just through the middle. That scores Bonds to make it 3-1 Giants. Next up, against Danny Jackson, Greg Colbert. His RBI single barely gets by a diving Mickey Morandini. Giants scoring 3 times in the 4th and how about a 7th spot in the 5th. Clayton rips reliever Bob Arolt's pitch to center. Lenny Dykstra misplays it into a bases-clearing triple. Clayton a career-high 5 RBIs. The final count, once again, 11-2 Giants. The Cubs beat Colorado 3-2 in the 8th. San Diego and Montreal are tied. Cincinnati beat Florida 6-2. Pittsburgh 4-1 over Atlanta. And if this score holds up, the Phils will lead the Cardinals by 4.5 as Houston leads them right now in the 6th. Despite losing 5 straight, the Chicago White Sox, along with the Angels and Rangers, all with a piece of the lead in the AL West. What the Sox did in their matinee in Milwaukee today, though, won't hurt them a bit. At County Stadium, the same can't be said for the Sox. Ron Karkovice. Look at this. Beamed by Jamie Navarro's pitch, Karkovice has to leave the game, but he is reportedly okay tonight. Next, watch Sox starter Alex Fernandez fly off the mound and pounce on the Matt Mieske bunt attempt for the out. Then the acrobatic play by Steve Sachs. After misjudging Bill Doran's drive, the former outfielder learning the outfield on the job, making the play. Robin Ventura's home run leading off the 9th snaps a 1-1 tie. The White Sox beat the Brewers 3-1. KC 4-3 over Detroit. Baltimore's Mike Mussina throws a 2-hitter as the Orioles blank the Twins. Cleveland 3-2 over Seattle in the 8th. California leading the Yankees. Also in the 8th, Boston 2-1 over Oakland. And Toronto and Texas are tied in the 6th. Opening round of the NBA playoffs. Cleveland and New Jersey even at a game apiece coming in tonight. A pretty good night for the Nets back home in the Meadowlands. Midway through the second period, though, they lead by 5 when starting center Sam Bowie twists his left ankle. He has to leave the game, and the Cavs immediately go on a 12-2 run. Cleveland seizes control of that series. They lead it now 2-1 as the Cavs beat the Nets 93-84. Charlotte leading Boston by 9 late in the 4th quarter. If that holds up, the Hornets will win their first ever playoff series and await the winner of the Knicks and Pacers series. In the Western Conference, Portland leading San Antonio by 1 in the 4th. That series tied at 1 apiece. And Houston at the Clippers just ready to get underway. Rockets leading that series 2-1. Last time we saw Chris Webber, he was calling a timeout as Michigan Wolverines didn't have in the NCAA championship game. Today, Webber called a news conference to say see you later to his final 2 years of college eligibility to head to the NBA in the Norris Division Final in the NHL playoffs. St. Louis and Toronto in overtime now skating 1-1 in the tie.
All right, thank you, Carl.
Thanks, Carl. The 5th of May started out as a national Mexican holiday, but now Cinco de Mayo is celebrated worldwide. Johnny O and the classic Dogs of Love were down at Penn's Landing this evening to celebrate Cinco de Mayo and kick off the summer season of concerts at the waterfront. Cinco de Mayo commemorates the Battle of Puebla in 1862 when Mexican troops outnumbered 3-1 defeated the French forces of Napoleon III. Well, the Cinco de Mayo festival isn't the only thing happening on the waterfront.
That's right. Jill is just a little farther down Delaware Avenue. Jill?
Well, we're under a tent here at the Riverview Theater, but there's been some strange spring weather outside our window. Frank, what's that all about?
Well, actually, we have some Hollywood-made snow here inside the film festival, but outside we're having rain. We'll check radar, and I'll have the full forecast when we come back live from the Philadelphia Festival of World Cinema right after this. Stay with us.
We are inside the tent at the opening of the Philadelphia Film Festival. Hundreds of people have gathered for tonight's opening, so as you might imagine, it's about 90 degrees and very humid inside. Frank, what's it look like outside?
Jill, very warm and humid under the tent here. As a matter of fact, we do see some snow showers falling behind us. Boy, I wish they were real snow showers. It's actually a Hollywood snowmaking machine behind me, and it's dumping down. It looks like about 2 to 4 inches an hour. Any relief in here would be welcome. We're getting some relief outside, though, in the form of some rain showers. First, let's take a look and see how we did in the record books today. Got up to a high temperature of 72 at Philly International Airport. After a low of 60, normal high would be 69, normal low 49. Record high 90 set back in 1928. Sun will rise tomorrow at 6:56 in the morning and set at 8 p.m. this evening. Outside right now, the current temperature is sitting right at 68 degrees with high humidity at 87%, a rising barometer, a southwest wind at 6 miles an hour, and we picked up so far a 1/10 of an inch of rain at Philly International, and I think we'll see probably another 1/4 of an inch before the night is over. Let's take a look now at the satellite map, and you can see just what's going on across the country. There's a satellite map with quite a bit of cloud cover in the Central Plains going all the way down into the Gulf Coast area, and you notice off on the eastern seaboard still quite a bit of cloudiness sitting right over Philadelphia. I think it'll probably be with us another 6 to 10 hours. Then we should start to clear out and see a good amount of sunshine tomorrow. Taking a look at the latest radar summary right now, we see some heavy thunderstorms still in Texas. They've been plagued by heavy thunderstorms over the past 2 days. And on the eastern seaboard, the last line of showers and thunderstorms with that cold front is starting to move through as we speak. Let's take a look at the jet stream. It's kind of wiggling its way across the country right now, taking a big dip down in western sections of Texas, going all the way up into the Central Plains and down in the Tennessee Valley and off the eastern seaboard. Cooler conditions in the northwest, fair skies sitting right over Chicago, and that's what I expect to move into Philadelphia tomorrow afternoon and stay with us pretty much the better part of the weekend, and we're sitting in some wet weather here in Philadelphia. Let's take a look at the current surface map right now. Here's what's happening. We have high pressure center just out to our south and our southwest. It'll start to be building in tomorrow. Overnight, we'll see those showers and thunderstorms continue in the Central Plains. The showers will be ending here in Philadelphia, and what do you know? Real snow, not that Hollywood stuff, falling in parts of Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah overnight. They may see 2 to 4 inches of snow. Let's put the maps into motion, and for tomorrow, as we bring in tomorrow's map, you will see plenty of sunshine down in the southwest, a stationary system in the Central Plains that could produce some severe weather, especially in parts of Oklahoma and Texas. High pressure down to the south of us and one up towards the north and west will promise us some clear skies. Let's zoom in now to the map, and you will see that cold frontal system will be moving in towards Philadelphia later in the afternoon, switching our winds around to the north and west, bringing in cooler weather, sunny skies, and ultimately a very nice weekend here in the Delaware Valley. For the Poconos and the Jersey Shore, Poconos 73 degrees for your high tomorrow. The Jersey Shore, you'll see rain a little later than we will here in Philadelphia. Your high temperature, though, 72 degrees. The rest of the Delaware Valley looks like this for tonight. Here's what you can expect. The showers will be ending. Look for a low temperature down to 57 degrees on southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. For tomorrow, becoming partly sunny by the afternoon. The high still up to 78 degrees on northwest winds. For tomorrow night, you can expect fair and cooler conditions with a low down to 48. And my 5-day forecast does show that as we roll through the weekend, we will see lots of sunshine here in Philadelphia. Mostly sunny all the way through the 5-day forecast with high temperatures in the upper 60s through the lower 70s. I think we can't beat the weekend we have ahead of us. Now, coming up shortly, Bill Wine will have a profile of movie director Richard Brooks. Some of his movies will surprise you. That and Philadelphia movie makers are giving Hollywood a run for its money. Lots more ahead. Stay with us, folks.
This is very much a homegrown affair, and Victor Livingston reports on one person who has made an impact on putting this whole thing together. He's not only built this set that we're sitting on, but he's created other movie sets used in the Delaware Valley.
Since he was a toddler, Stuart Levy has aspired to a career as a magician. He still does sleight of hand, but now it shows up in the movies and on TV. He's transformed what began as a one-man scenery and special effects business into $1 million South Philadelphia complex. He calls it Metropolis Studios.
The various people I knew in film
saw the building and thought it would be a great place to have a film studio, and one thing led to another, and here we are.
Levy's first Hollywood break came nearly 3 years ago with the filming of Mannequin 2. The Wanamaker's store was undergoing renovations, so the filmmakers turned to Levy's South Philly soundstage.
People had heard about it, and Location Scout had called me up and said, I hear you're building this facility, and can I stop down and take a look? And they ended up showing up in a few days and constructing in there.
Metropolis also has hosted filming for Jonathan Demme's Philadelphia and Martin Scorsese's Age of Innocence. Producers and directors can shoot a movie here for 10 to 15% less than it would cost in Hollywood or New York.
The mayor's been a very strong advocate of filmmaking in Philadelphia, and he understands the revenue capabilities.
Commercials aren't as sexy, but spots like this baked bean ad account for the bulk of the Metropolis workload. It's also provided studio space and scenery for these highly recognizable brand names.
Remington's also quick and comfortable.
Stuart Levy's celluloid dreams extend far beyond this South Philadelphia neighborhood. He would like to create an entire Hollywood East complex in Philadelphia. 25 acres or more, perhaps along the Delaware River, of sound stages, studios, and scenery shops.
That will bring a lot of business out of New York and give a little bit of a backlot kind of West Coast LA filming community.
Until the budding movie mogul pulls off that trick, he's busy creating more magic for his film and commercial clients. A Philadelphia success story that's not just smoke and mirrors. Victor Livingston, the 10 o'clock news.
Metropolis also made the film trailer used to promote the festival. Let's take a look now at Dee Dee's Glamorama and a different view of Philadelphia movie making.
You know Dee Dee, she's the reason Louis Mayer took the movie business to Hollywood. Broke the poor guy's heart.
Somebody ought to bring the movies back to Philadelphia. Bring back the glamour, huh, Bernays?
There are two tributes to Philadelphians at this festival. One is to Richard Brooks, an award-winning director. Bill Wine will have more on that in a moment. And the other is to Garrett Brown. Brown, of course, is the inventor of the Steadicam. Now, the Steadicam gave way to the Junior Cam. It's a very neat device that allows the camera operator to move while the camera stays still. The Steadicam's first big break came with Sylvester Stallone's run up the Art Museum steps in Rocky. And the other tribute during these 11 days is to the Philadelphia-born director Richard Brooks. Bill Wine is with me now with more on this remarkable man.
Probably the most accomplished director to ever emerge out of Philadelphia. You may not know the name Richard Brooks, but you know his movies. And when you take a look at his credits, his accomplishments, and the A-list actors and actresses he worked with, you'll find it amazing that he's not better known than he is. Richard Brooks was born in Philadelphia in 1912 to factory worker parents. He studied journalism at Temple University, drifted and rode the rails through the Great Depression, then worked as a sports writer, a novelist, and a radio writer. Entering the movies as a scriptwriter, he went on to write and direct 36 films, many of them memorable, entertaining classics. Humphrey Bogart starred as a crusading managing editor fighting to keep his paper alive in the newspaper melodrama Deadline USA.
What's that racket? That's the press, baby. The press. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing.
Blackboard Jungle, the first movie to feature rock music on the soundtrack, was a melodrama that chronicled the harrowing experiences of a dedicated New York City high school teacher played by Glenn Ford and some troubled, hostile students, including Sidney Poitier.
You want to take me to see Mr. Warnke? You do just that. Who's your home period teacher? You are, Chief.
Paul Newman and Elizabeth Taylor starred as husband and wife Brick and Maggie the Cat in the movie version of the classic Tennessee Williams play, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
I've seen that look before, and I know what it used to mean, and it still means the same thing now.
You're not the same woman now, Maggie.
Burt Lancaster won the Best Actor Oscar for his portrayal of the title character Elmer Gantry, a hypocritical salesman-turned-evangelist in the Oscar-winning script by Richard Brooks from the Sinclair Lewis novel.
Can you hear me, Lord? Thank you, Lord. I didn't make that sale, Lord. You did. Thank you.
In Cold Blood, the chilling semi-documentary adaptation of the Truman Capote book traced the motives, murders, and arrests of two ex-convict killers played by Robert Blake and Scott Wilson.
That's your signal. Fast, hard snap. I grab the wheel. You're so good at it. You sit in the back seat. You do it.
And Diane Keaton starred in the sex melodrama Looking for Mr. Goodbar. as a repressed woman who cruises singles bars in search of men like the one played by Richard Gere.
I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse.
Oh, really?
You and me in bed, right?
Yeah? Why can't I refuse?
Familiar movies, every one of them. That small sample of Richard Brooks' output makes it evident that he was among Hollywood's leading writer-directors, especially in the 50s and 60s. He specialized in adaptations of literary properties, novels and plays, and made more than his share of compelling, admirable movies. And along the way, he and his actors were Oscar nominees and Oscar winners. In 1990, 2 years before he died, he received the first Lifetime Achievement Award from the Writers and Directors Guilds. Yes, Richard Brooks had some misfires too, but this master storyteller's best movies will allow him to live on at the top of his form on celluloid and now videotape. Very good director, and this is the perfect place, a very good choice by the festival to give him this award.
Okay, Bill, stay with us. We'll be back at the festival in just a moment.
Now here's another look at what happened today. Philadelphia police made a third arrest in the weekend assault on Santiago Pineda, who was attacked when he tried to chase drug dealers away from his house. 21-year-old Marco Carrega is charged with assault. Police are looking for 4 more suspects. A major anti-drug rally is planned for tomorrow in Hunting Park.
A Northeast Philadelphia couple was killed and another person injured in an accident that shut down Interstate 95 today. It happened at about noon between Cottman Avenue and Bridge Street. Police say a man stopped his car to retrieve a storm door that fell out of his trunk, and that touched off a chain reaction accident. The road was reopened for the evening rush hour. There is late word that the Bosnian Serb parliament has rejected the United Nations peace plan. Instead, the assembly called for a popular referendum on the plan. The vote is expected to be condemned by the international community. It heightens prospects of foreign military intervention. Carl?
Giants beat the Phillies 11-2. The Phils' 19-7 record, though still the best in all of baseball. But Frank, how's the weather down there?
The weather is great down here, Carl. As a matter of fact, showers and thunderstorms will end overnight for tomorrow. Becoming partly sunny. Look for a high temperature of 78 degrees. Winds will be switching out to the northwest chill, and that'll give us some lovely weather for the entire weekend.
Okay, thanks, Greg. And that is our news for this Wednesday night. We'd like to thank everyone who had anything to do with the festival tonight, to the entire 10 o'clock news team. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.